All right, here we go. This morning we are diving into a hot topic, maybe a steamy topic.
Yeah, we've been talking about this all morning already. Joining us this morning to discuss the pros, the cons, maybe some of the myths surrounding office romance is Sharon Schweitzer, an international etiquette expert. Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Oh boy, are we ready to dive into this? This is hot, but I will say we're going to be diving into millennials. I mean, people dating at work, this has been happening for ages. I don't think you can tell people to not do it.
Well, it's a dangerous cocktail for thirsty professionals, and it does happen in the workplace.
It does. So that's our number one question. How many employers have office romance policies in place?
Well, that is on the rise. It used to be back in 2003, only about 18% of employers had those policies in place. Now, in 2013, we have 42% of employers.
Oh, wow.
Obviously, it's jumped.
But I also read a stat that half of these business people that maybe you polled, or somebody polled, have had office romances. I've had one. All right. I know. The guilt is just right. So I mean, this is.
Well, and let's talk about the millennials. Sean's not alone. He's not the only one.
You're not alone,
Thanks.
Sean. You're not.
You're not alone, Sean. Shh, you're not alone.
This is a couch session. It's a therapy session.
Vault.com did a survey, and they found that half of the people surveyed admitted to an office romance. So that seems to be the reality today. And the other thing we're finding is that with millennials, to go to your question, Carly, what we're finding is that 18 to 34-year-olds, the majority of them have engaged in an office romance, and 1/3 of them have found that that is the way that they're meeting their significant other. That's the most common way. And that ranks above dating apps, and that ranks above meeting people in a bar.
Well, that's where people are spending most of their time, is it not? I mean, that's what was funny. I mean, you can't tell people not to do that, but that's where you're saying that's why the policies, employers are more, having more access.
Do you think it's something more than that, though, than just proximity, or is it, or like you're creating something together? Carly's making me laugh today. I don't know why.
Well, Sean, it is, and what they're finding in these surveys is that people have a lot in common in the workplace because you're focusing on the same projects, you understand the same stresses. Right. So let's say that you are in the publishing industry or you're in the news industry, you understand the deadlines. If you're an attorney, you understand the pressures in that particular field, or in medicine. So you understand emergency medicine, or you understand the stress of dealing with cancer patients.
Sure.
So it's
similar
a similar
interest. And all right, let's talk about male versus female too. And this is interesting too. This is something, by the way, you just did a recent article on the Huffington Post about this as well that I know was wildly popular. That's why we wanted to talk about it this morning.
Thank you.
But male versus female, and you say females tend to have more regret about this?
Well, SHRM has done a study, and so has Mick.com. So since I practiced law for 15 years, I tend to do a lot of research.
Okay.
And yes, whenever they look to see if you've had an office romance, would you have another office romance? Women expressed more regret. 71% of women said they would not
I know
re-engage.
the ones who date me definitely regret. 100% of the women who've dated me have regret. I did my own informal poll.
And for the men, not so much. They would re-engage in another office romance, Carly. They would. But, one of the things that I think people need to realize is that if you are going to engage in an office romance, check your employer's policies, because so many employers now have a policy, and what they want you to do is let them know, you know what, we're dating. And we want to come in, we want to report and let you know that we're dating. The other thing they want you to take into consideration is try to avoid the public displays of affection, because that's what gets people upset in the office, is they don't want to be perceived as having favoritism, or there's some kind of an ethical issue. Well, she's going to promote him over me, or he's going to promote her and not me. So if you let the office know and you follow the office policy, then you're not going to have as much trouble. However, if there's an office policy that prohibits it, then someone's going to have to think about a transfer or possibly another job. It's heavy duty.
But I think if I were an employer and the dating wouldn't bother me as much as the breaking up. Like, and then you have this kind of acrimonious relationship between. I wouldn't know. I'm just guessing that something like this might happen.
Well, there are many examples, successful examples of people who met on the job. Look at Melinda and Bill Gates.
Oh, good example. Just take that to your employer. That's what you do.
Well, they're an example. Michelle and Barack Obama, she supervised him when he was a young summer associate. And then we have our own Natalie Taylor.
Yes, she has married someone else into the business. So thank you so much for being here this morning. And again, we might have to have you back. There's more. We just kind of scratched the surface on it. Sean has more confessions to do as
We want to hear more, Sean.
Yes, we do.
We do. We're ready.
Carly. No, I was young and foolish.
We'll
Good luck,
be right back. We'll hear
good luck,
these in the commercial
everybody.
break.